Test microphone. Microphone Yeti is working. Oh my fucking god. I think there's a small problem with the microphone cord. My short circuit, because every time I move the microphone it glitches. All right, let's see how effective these YouTube raids are, because I thought about something really deep and philosophical. The most philosophical thing that I have thought all year, and I want to share it with you guys. It's about the subject. We're actually going to start with the subject of the video. Do you know how some people say that rights come from the government? And I was thinking about it. The rights come from the government. Isn't it like when you have a wife which is abused, right? So you have this woman and she's being abused by her husband. And she says, rights come from my husband. Like, think about the Middle Eastern woman from a country where, you know, women aren't allowed to walk alone on the streets. They have to constantly cover up and stuff. And you have, like, this woman saying, my rights come from my husband. Or, like, if you're a hostage, right? Why am I hearing myself? Oh, my God. Oh, my God. No, don't do this to me, YouTube. Don't do this to me. Okay. You're kidnapped. Okay, and someone locks you in their basement, and you get to say, rights come from my kidnapper. Isn't it kind of like that? I can see why many people think this way, unironically. And the thing is, like, theoretically, it's not necessarily wrong, right? Like, if you're trapped in a basement, kidnapped by someone, and, you know, they tie you up, and then the next day they say, if you behave, I allow you to move around. Theoretically, like, you know, your right to move around comes from your kidnapper, but the reality is that the kidnapper is infringing on your rights. You're supposed to be a person that's free. You're supposed to be able to do whatever you want, but the kidnapper is forcing you to behave in a certain way. So it's not that he allows you to move. The reality is that he restricts you. He is the one that placed you in that situation. It is the same with the abused wife, right? It's not that her rights come from the husband. It's that the husband is infringing on her rights and only decides to allow certain drops of freedom, which she benefits, and then she thinks that, oh, it's through the grace of my husband. The only rights you have are those you are willing to unalive yourself for others for. Otherwise, they are privileges. I'm not necessarily sure, because, like, again, it's the same thing, right? Like, if someone kidnaps you and locks you in a basement and says you're only allowed to do this and this and that, it's not like, let's say, like, one day they bring a television set and they allow you to watch it. It's not that your right to watch television comes from your kidnapper. No, your kidnapper is infringing on your rights and is just allowing a couple of drops of freedom, but that doesn't mean that he is the one giving you that. Does that make any sense? It's kind of like if the mafia comes into town, and let's say, like, the mafia is, you know, like Don Corleone, and he's the one making law in your neighborhood, and you happen to operate the store. It's not that Don Corleone allows you to have the store. It's like he is infringing on the rights of other shopkeepers, and he is not the one allowing you to have the right. It's that he chooses not to destroy your store. So yeah, that's my thesis on it. It's my my little 2 cents, my take. Let's see what has transpired in the good old US of A. Romania has recognized growing European Union authoritarianism. The European Union is actually very stealthy. In the sense that many of the changes are not viewed as if they're coming from the EU, but they're viewed as if our politicians are doing them. Right? And this is like a big problem that I think we're having, is that the politicians aren't actually saying, yeah, we passed this legislation because the European Union demands us to. Like for instance, Romania had the culture of raising and slaughtering pigs. What I mean by this, like many other countries did, but like in Romania it was quite prevalent. Every single house in the rural area, almost every single one, very little exception. So hold on, let me show you a Romanian village first, so you know what I'm talking about. Okay, like a place like this. Sorry. Yeah, so a place like this. Every single house, without exception, every single one would have animal husbandry. So they would have chickens, some would have sheep, but almost every single house had a pig. And the pig was also like a garbage dispenser as well. Like everything that remained from eating, like let's say, mother would cook a soup, and there was some that the people couldn't eat, for whatever reason. They would give it to the pig. Like literally, almost every single thing that was garbage was given to the pig, and the pig would be sacrificed around Christmas. We actually call it tăierea porcului, the cutting of the pig. Right, and then everything from the pig, almost everything, would be turned into some sort of food. Right? Like even the Romanian răcitur, it's called. It's a dish that's made from the bones of the, I guess like, it's not correct to call it hooves, but like the feet of the pig. Like almost everything would be consumed. And this is like a Romanian tradition which goes against wastefulness. It has started since probably before medieval time. But again, it's like the idea that everything is used and almost nothing goes to waste. Right? So like even the food that you don't eat, you don't throw it away. You give it to the pig. And then when you slaughter the pig, you eat everything. The European Union comes with legislation now. And it's like, no, you're not allowed to do this anymore. Because you need to take the pig to an authorized slaughterhouse. Right? And you need to have like a veterinarian. And it's like, hold on a little bit, but like if it's for my own consumption, like if I have my own pig and I'm raising it myself and I'm slaughtering it myself, what the fuck is your problem? Oh no, because what if you get sick? It's like, this is something that's since medieval fucking time. I mean, if people haven't gotten sick up until then, but the reality is, they're not really concerned about getting sick or whatnot. Or they will say, well, it's animal rights because it's more humane to take it to the slaughterhouse. The thing is, like, taking it to the slaughterhouse in certain places like this village, it's unreasonable, right? They live in the middle of the fucking mountains. There's no slaughterhouse nearby. Like, they would need to have, like, a massive car to transport the live pig from their backyard to the slaughterhouse. Then they need to pay extra. Like, it's incredibly expensive. The whole thing is to cripple the independent farmer. And favor of like big farmers, the ones that are raising like tens of thousands of pigs. And like the politicians do not advertise that this thing is coming from the European Union. Yeah, they'll try to ban food gardens. Like they literally try to, everything that's coming from the European Union, as far as I can tell. I mean, maybe there are some exceptions, I just didn't found them yet. But it's another ban. Another regulation that restringes. I do not see anything from the European Union that expands things. Almost everything. Everything is about ban this, ban that. The only exception, though, is, I mean, they wanted to pass a legislation which was supposed to unfuck the time zone. Here in Europe, and I think in the America as well, there is like this period where we turned back the clocks 1 hour and then we turned it for daylight savings. Yes, daylight savings. They wanted to abolish that, and I was like, oh, thank God. But for some fucking reason, I don't think it passed. So, like, literally, I can't think of anything that the European Union has done, which is a positive thing. Every single legislation, every single regulation that is coming is to fuck with the average citizen. Hi V, here's the next after the civil rights start busing blacks to white schools and LBJ sent the National Guard and at the end of the gun made the students accept them by force instead of freedom of association. Yeah, I see the pictures with that. To be honest, I don't think like even in the most authoritarian places like China has that happened. So like yes, US in some aspects was more authoritarian than China itself. When will Romania thank President Biden? When will Romania thank President Biden with the statue? I don't think we have statues of American presidents, but we do have this thing which is very bizarre. During World War II, Americans bombed Bucharest, right? So like the American aviation dropped bombs on the capital. And they destroyed a couple of strategic objectives like the railway. I think it was like a couple of oil pumps. But we have a statue to the fallen American pilots that got gunned down. And like the reason that I find it bizarre, again, like, imagine this, right? Japan attacks the United States at Pearl Harbor. America manages to gun down Japanese warplanes. And then you guys build a monument in the memory of the pilots that have been gunned down. It doesn't make much sense. It's just weird. Like I'm not saying it should be destroyed or anything. It's just bizarre. By the way, like I remember when the Democrats made a gaffe with like what was it, like South Korea or North Korea or Vietnam, where they went and they put flowers at a memorial which was signifying the same thing, like dead American soldiers. You know, like they were praising it, and I think like some Democrats went there and gave flowers because they didn't know what it meant. I'll have to look at it. So much freedom of association, you can't force people to get... The thing with freedom of association, you know it's dead. When there were like a couple of students at a university and they like preferred their roommates to be of the same ethnicity as they were, and the university freaked out and said that's white supremacy or some shit. And I'm like, well, yeah, but like, hold on a little bit. Like, are you telling me that if a black student would prefer to have like a black colleague in the dorm, is that like black supremacy? And it's of course not, but you know, like this whole double standard. I'm sure like they will play mental Olympics in order to justify like why one is fine and why is it. Like not to mention it's kind of French, like they're especially on a liberal campus. Like most people probably, especially like white people, like that are liberal, they have no problem with the colleague that they're in the dorm. So the idea of like finding one that's like, oh well, I want one that looks like me, it's quite rare. And in fact it was. I think it was like 1 or 2 people that had this preference. But even then it's like, okay, so you think like this is not okay. They go overboard by saying stuff like, when it comes to sexuality, and this is like something that I'm very strong for, bouncing on someone's cock is a privilege, not a right. And you know, if you have like people that flat out say, I do not like Latinos, or I do not like Mexicans, or whatever, you know, but it's like the context of dating. Like I don't want to date someone that's Latino. They consider that to be racist. And I'm like, well, hold on a little bit, right? Like, if you say, I won't date someone that's short, that's fine. If you say, I won't date someone that's of a certain age, that's fine. Like, what? Are you trying to imply that it's racist? Okay, so, like, if I don't want to date grandmothers, does that make me ageist? Do you think, like, I hate grandmas just because I don't want to fuck them? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, no, like, sexual preferences are something you can't control. If you don't find a certain body type to be attractive, the idea that you can have people like force you to find it is just bizarre. Okay, so like, you know, I'm straight. Like, I do not want to date men. Does that mean that I hate men? Like, that doesn't make any fucking sense, does it? So I don't see like why ethnicity would be different. Now, of course, they will say, okay, but like you're not supposed to say it, and it's like, all right, so you want me to waste other people's time, basically. That's what you want me to do. You want me to allow other people to think that they have a choice. A waste of my time, a waste of their time. Because you're not, like, here's the thing, you're not going to force people to fuck in a way that they don't want to do. Right? Like, if someone has a preference, it's like trying to get a gay man to lick pussy. It's not going to happen. So like, I genuinely, like, do not see how this is any different. Unironically. But I'm pretty sure, like, some leftist is going to tell me, no, actually it's different because such and such. And by the way, like, there are so many black people that prefer white women. Like, if you go on these dating sites, you'll see many black people that are like, no, I only want to date white women. Is that racist? Is that a problem? Like, no, is that preference, right? Like, they're automatically stating, like, this is what I want to date. And it's so that they don't waste time. Doesn't waste your time, doesn't waste his time. I think it's acceptable. But, you know, freedom of association apparently is racist. Like, I get discriminating, right? Like, let's say you have a job interview and you flat out deny people of a certain race or ethnicity from applying. Yeah, that is discrimination. I do agree. But like, when it comes to dating, like, you do not have a right to bounce on anyone else's penis. It's a privilege. Right, so, anyway, I wanted to talk about something more interesting, which is the United States starting to look more and more like China. But it's more like the left leaning states, like New York, California. Yeah. So hold on, let me see if I can find the the thing first, because I'm pretty sure I saved it here somewhere. I really hate the fact that they removed the embedded thumbnail from Discord. I genuinely do not get why. But basically you have like this California representative, and I think it's in New York as well. And they're basically stating that they want to monitor the internet as national safety. And I'm thinking like, oh, so pretty much like China then. Because that's literally what China does. And I remember that it wasn't that long ago, like probably less than 10 years ago, where we would look at China with their, you know, Great Firewall of China, and we would laugh at them. We would say, oh my god, that's so horrible. Like, imagine living with half the internet censored. Ah, here we go. Right, here we go. And of course, it's a very concerned lady. Every single fucking time, it's a concerned lady that's saying these things. Well, actually, I shouldn't be like that. Like, sometimes it's a concerned man, but usually it's a concerned lady. Especially in the United Kingdom. Like, I think like the United Kingdom is the one that started the trend of internet control and internet censorship. And I think like the Democrats even are trying to pass a bill where they're stating similar stuff. By the way, notice how the people that were like, my private company can do whatever it wants and they don't want government intervention are nowhere to be fucking found. I remember arguing with, what was his name, academic agent, right, at the time. I don't know what name he's got. But I remember at the time, he was like, no, the government shouldn't regulate. No, because like free market and shit. And there were like so many anarcho-capitalists, which allegedly were on my side, who didn't want Trump to regulate social media. Because like, no, you can't do that. No, if you do that, it's bad. Where are they? Where? I'm not saying that they would make a difference, but it's just like a matter of fucking principle, you know? My point was at the time, if the Republicans don't regulate it, the Democrats will. Why am I always so right? Like, why? Do I have a crystal ball or something? Like, why is it so fucking difficult for other people to notice patterns of behavior and arrive to the same fucking conclusions? It's like, you know, I see that 2 plus 2 and I think like, okay, it equals 4. But other people literally have to get 2 sticks, put 2 more fucking sticks next to them and start 1, 2, 3. V, you are right. How did you know? It's literally like fucking that. So let's listen to what this lady has to say.
When I get into office, the first thing we have to do, social media accounts, social media companies, they have to show America their algorithms. Let us see why they're pushing what they're pushing. The second thing is every person on social media should be verified by their name. That
Literal Chinese shit. Literal Chinese shit. You know, like verify by their name. So you can't have an ID to vote, but you need to verify people by their name. Okay, so like voting is too difficult to verify people, but social media, oh, completely doable. By the way, the algorithm thing, completely agree. Like that's fine. Have transparency. That's that's fine. You know, like the same thing when you buy a product and it has a label on the box so that you know what's inside. That's okay. I'm fine with that. But like to use the internet and to have a name attached to the ID, right? What if you have like someone that wants to protest and wants to maintain his anonymity? No, apparently no more anonymity. All right. So basically I can make an anonymous phone call, right? I can send an anonymous letter. I can put an anonymous flyer on a wall, but heaven forbid we use social media.
That's, first of all, it's a national security threat. When you
listen to that, national security threat. National security threat. If you talk to another person, if 5 adults talk on Discord and you don't see their name, national security threat.
Do that, all of a sudden people have to stand by what they say, and it gets rid of the Russian bots, the Iranian bots, and the Chinese bots.
Yeah, it also gets rid of political dissenters, doesn't it? People have to stand by what they say. Yeah, especially when you get fired for what you say, right? So let's create a culture where people get persecuted for political beliefs, mind you. Like stuff like, you know, maybe we shouldn't wear a mask. Maybe we shouldn't shut down the schools. Maybe burning down neighborhoods is not good for minorities, right? So those types of things. Like if you say them, or if you joke about it, or if you use a metaphor, you should get fired. So let's create that environment, and then let's attach every single person's name on their fucking social media account, because that's going to be great. I mean, otherwise, national security is at risk.
And then you're going to get some civility when people know their name is next to what they say.
And not to mention, like, do we fucking get civility? I mean, I know what AOC says. I know some of the batshit, radical, extremist things that Democrats have to say. Like, oh, you don't need the gas stove anymore. Oh, fuck your car. Oh, eat the bugs. They get to say that out in the open, and their names are attached. But heaven forbid if you say maybe we should limit migration. You know, maybe borders are important. Maybe we should worry about our citizens before we worry about other people. Oh, those are unacceptable talking points. That's way too far, comrade. Tovarish, por favor.
Accountability. And they know their pastor and their family member is going to see it.
Look at this. Look at this. Literally, they know that their pastor and their family member are going to see. She's a Democrat. What the fuck does she know about pastors? Like, unironically, do Democrats even know what a pastor is? How many Democrats are... Well, probably, you know, this is actually an interesting thing. I think, like, much to the dismay of the Democrats, black people are actually very religious. Right? There are many videos on social media where... So it's outside of the corporate environment, right? Because usually... When you see minorities being portrayed on television, it's almost always in a corporate environment, right? Like you see the Nation of Islam look, I like to call it, right? Like the Malcolm X look with the individual, right? The man, he's got glasses. He just walked out of the hairstylist. He's got a big watch on his hand, right? Wears a presentable t-shirt, maybe a tie. But the reality is that there are some minorities out there that do not fit this particular stereotypical description, mostly in the ghettos. So you got videos from social media coming from the ghettos or the impoverished places in the United States. And when they start talking about what they think about LGBT people, it reminds me when I was in 2016 playing on Xbox and listening to what people would say in the chat. Yeah, those individuals aren't very represented. But those individuals are behaving this way also because they are incredibly Christian. And the Democrats hate this. Like, I noticed it. I noticed that they really dislike this, you know, because they would prefer that everyone was an atheist, potentially Marxist. But reality isn't really how they prefer it. It's the Che Guevara that gives them away. Yeah. Nikki Haley is a hard Republican. Man, who's that chica that I really liked? Nicki Minaj, I think. Nicki Minaj. She, during the pandemic, she came out as being Republican. And I was like, oh, look who's on my side all of a sudden. I mean, that's nice. And they persecuted her as well. I think, like, they shut down her Instagram account. Haley is an 80s reggae Democrat, which are neocon. What is the difference between, like, a neocon and an actual progressive? I'm genuinely curious, because they support kind of the same shit, don't they? Nikki Haley is a Republican candidate and was my state governor years ago. She did a great job, but some of her views disturb us now. Also, like, she's a Republican. Like, I want to know, is she a Republican or a Democrat? Because Fox News doesn't really say in this video. Like, I don't know every single fucking politician on the face of the United States. I'm actually going to look. Nikki Haley. I love it. Like, she exposes anti-Semitism. As if we don't know. An American politician and diplomat. U.S. government, South Carolina. Blah, blah, blah. I think she resigned. Hold on. So, Nikki Haley, succeeded by... What the fuck don't they say? She's the first Indian American to hold office in South Carolina. Republican election, defeating Democrat. What is that fucking party association? Okay, so Haley announced that she would run for the Republican nomination in 2009. So I think, like, she's a Republican? My fucking god, you'd think, like, on her Wikipedia page, it would be like a big D or a big R next to her name, but nope. Whatever. I'll find out. She's a Republican. Oh, a pretend Republican, I see. Yeah. Okay, so as a Republican... I genuinely, like, do not understand her way of thinking. Most social media platforms are far left. The terms of service on most social media companies are far left. Like, if you misgendered someone on Twitter, you would lose your account a couple of years ago before Elon Musk took over. Most Republicans do not believe in this, right? They do not. They believe in free speech. They do not think that if you misgender someone, you should lose your social media account. So her, like, wanting names to be public, like, what? So you want, like, most of your voters to now lose their jobs? It is what it is. She's running for a Republican president. My god, I'm sorry. Look, I know that there have been Republican debates. And as a political commentator, I should have watched them. But I did watch like 15 minutes, and it was enough. Like, seeing 10 people in a stadium talking about how they compare to Trump when Trump wasn't even there, I'm like, I had enough. Literally, every single one was like, let me tell you why blah, 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 Trump. Blah, 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 Trump. It's like... Why not just vote for Trump? Like, let me tell you why I'm better than Trump. Not to mention, like, everyone knows that Trump is going to get elected, right? So, as the Republican nominee. So what's the point? I don't fucking care who's running. I genuinely don't. I think, like, the funniest part with the the whole thing was Mike Pence. Mike Pence just managed to completely crash and burn. And the reason they crash and burn is because they're not used to having debates. And by they, I mean the American political class. Almost none of them. None of them. Even Trump is bad at debates. He's better than most, I guess, but like due to the fact that he's old and he doesn't have like the same energy that he did when he was young, he's not that good. But the thing is, Mike Pence was asked by Tucker Carlson, you're giving all this money to Ukraine and you're giving all this foreign aid to other places, but our cities look bad. And his response was, I don't care about American cities. I have never seen a politician destroy his career faster than Mike Pence. I think was how to destroy my political career speedrun moment. No one can watch all the crazy nonsense coming out of the United States. We appreciate you bringing important issues to light. I do try, Mayfly. I do try. But the thing was it was so easy to get out of that rhetorical problem, right? So if I was in Mike Pence's shoes and Tucker Carlson is asking me but what about the American cities? I would be like, look, as the U.S. president, I can direct foreign aid and it's within my attributions to do so. But the American cities are in the caretake of the states. You have, states' rights, and the Constitution says that the governors are responsible for the cities under their jurisdiction. I, as the U.S. president, can't do much about that. But when it comes to foreign politics, yes, I'm your man. If you want to talk about foreign politics as the U.S. president, the Constitution gives me a lot of leeway and it allows me to do many things. And I'm pretty sure Tucker Carlson, that the money for the budget is being separated and, there is money allocated for external affairs, blah, 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 blah. You could actually have a conversation based on that. But when you say, oh yeah, fuck the American cities, who cares? It's well, if you don't care about the American cities, then why should the people living in those cities vote for you? It's just... Yeah, Vivek should go back to Morrowind. The thing with Vivek, I genuinely think that he may actually be the vice president. I think that Vivek, he's not attacking Trump anymore. He doesn't do that. In fact, he's defending Trump. And I do think that he either understands that he's not going to win, so he's trying to set himself up for future elections, which is quite possible, or he's going to become the vice president of Donald Trump. I mean, who else is Trump going to elect as his running mate? It would be interesting if he elects a woman, though. Honestly, what is the fashion, the woke fashion of the year? I think a trans person, right? Trump should elect a trans woman. Tucker Carlson for vice president? Man, I don't think Tucker Carlson wants it, though. There are many people who they understand what politics are like and they don't want it. If I were to be asked, hypothetically, by a Romanian political party to participate in politics, I would say no. I have absolutely no interest. See, this is one of the things that many leftists falsely believe, that everyone covets power and influence and money. But the reality is, no, some people just covet a simple life. I just want an uneventful life. I want things that I can predict. I want stuff that doesn't really makes me agitated, for most people, once you reach a certain amount of wealth, you don't need more. So I already have a house with 3 rooms in it. I already have a beautiful wife. We have everything we need. Why would I want more? What is there to gain? Now, maybe I can make a video game. Maybe I want more so I can make a video game and give something to the community. Right? Because, everyone wants to feel useful, I suppose. So, you can be useful without being a politician. I just want Vivek to do something in the game. I think he will make an impact wherever he is. Yeah, probably. No, but unironically, think about it. I don't want to be like Hassan Piker. Like Hassan Piker has like this huge mansion. And the thing is, like, why do you need such space? You know, like, he's got a huge mansion, huge muscle cars and stuff. It's like, why do you need it? Like, I understand needing a muscle car when you're a teenager and you want to attract a woman or something. But, like, when you're at the age of 40 or late 30s, you don't need muscle cars. You don't really want the big house. Like, what's the point? You know, you sit your ass at the computer all day anyway. Like, you probably, there are rooms in that manor, I guarantee to you, that Hassan Piker doesn't visit. So, like, what's the point? It's just to show off. Oh, look how wealthy I am. Oh, look at the luxury. I mean, I guess, you know, like, but not everyone is like that, right? Like, that is a way of life that I guess leftists covet, but not everyone wants that. Vice President picks Tucker, General Flynn, Larry Elder, Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard is a person that I like, but, like, she shocks me when it comes to the economy. Like, she's got, like, very bizarre, I would even say, like, left-wing economical takes. Wasn't she a Democrat, though? Did she switch parties? She probably did. I don't really follow Larry Elder that much, but that would be an interesting pick. And Tucker Carlson, like, I don't think he's got political ambitions, man. Like, are there any hints that Tucker Carlson wants to be in politics and to get involved in that? It would be interesting. I'm not saying, you know, I mean, hell, but by this logic, why not pick Joe Rogan? But I don't think that Tucker Carlson is going to be interested in it. Anyway, what day is it today? Is it Wednesday? Tomorrow is going to be Dungeons and Dragons. I'm going to play Dungeons and Dragons. It's going to be fun. First session. I don't know at what hour, but it's going to happen. In the meantime, let me show you other things. Let me just open my browser over here.
Yeah, bang
Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi. I don't know why people give me news from faraway places that I find difficult to pronounce. The problem is, like, I do not know the situation there. But basically, they want to ban alcohol.
Azadi Sufi says they have halted the issuing of liquor licenses in an effort to help end the fight against drugs and the sale of illicit goods. The Sufi says alcohol is a gateway drug, and this is where the use, rather, of other and stronger drugs stem from.
I really hate the gateway theory. I don't even know, like, where it came from or why does it even seem plausible. It's like, okay, so if you drink alcohol, you're going to do meth. That doesn't even sound logical. Or, you know, if anything, the opposite may be true. If you look at places in the Middle East that do ban alcohol successfully, it's not a woman moment. I think it's a man. But the thing is, in the Middle East, there are places where they ban alcohol, so they do a lot of drugs instead. Like if you take one of those, what do they call it? Hookah. If you smoke hookah, they put hashish in hookah. Hashish is what they call it. But they banned alcohol, so how do they do it? How the fuck do they do it? Right? Like, there's no gateway, and yet they're doing drugs. The thing with banning alcohol, it's incredibly difficult. It's one of the most difficult things you can do. Why? Because banning a drug, like let's say you want to ban marijuana, that's easy. Because in order to, like, you know how the marijuana plant looks like, and if you see anyone planting it, they can be reported to the cops. Right? And people can't buy the plant on bulk. Like, you can't go to the supermarket and buy marijuana plant. But alcohol is made out of fruits. Like, you're not going to ban fruits, right? You're not going to ban grapes. You're not going to ban plums. You're not going to ban pears. Like, right? So, like, everyone has access to them. Everyone can go to the restaurant, to the market and buy plums. And then if they have a distillery, which, again, it's a small device, you know, like, it's not something that's really big. You got a distillery, you can make alcohol. So my point with this is that it's very difficult to ban. You know, banning cocaine, banning all these others is a lot easier. Now, America has tried it. Didn't work out very well, as you guys know. But there are countries that did ban alcohol. Muslim nations. So, I do not know, like, this country, if its religion is Islamic or not. But if it's Islamic, it can work. There's several reasons why Muslim nations manage to ban alcohol. The first one is that there are a lot of people that just won't do it. In a secular nation, a lot of people that want to commit crime, they will think, do I get caught or not? Right? So, like, that's what, like, if no one sees you doing the crime, they will say, well, it's fine because I'm not going to get caught. In a religious nation, there are people who are religious and they say, okay, I'm not going to get caught, but God sees it. And if God sees it, then I will be judged in the afterlife and I may be punished. Right? So there's a lot of people that dissuade themselves from committing crime just because of the religious aspect. And then there's other religious people that say, if people commit sin around me, then God will punish the nation. That's another way of thinking. So that's why, like, Muslim nations have managed to ban alcohol while the United States didn't. Not for drugs, but a lot of people talk about the gateways to freedom. Man, I don't know, like, if this thing with gateways actually exists. Like, it's an American concept. I don't even think that in Romania we have such a concept. Like, in the language, like the concept of a gateway drug doesn't exist. We do have, like, the word for gateway, and we do have the word for drug, but these things mixed together just doesn't make sense. It's clearly a puritanical concept, which is done to justify bannings. Well, thank you, Subject to Change, for the $5. I really appreciate it. It's a cultural thing. If the West were to become 60% Muslims, alcohol would be banned too. It's not about the ban, it's about the enforcement, right? Because, like, theoretically, you can ban anything. Like, if you want to ban porn, you can ban porn. But the question is, will people still do it? I mean, look at Romania. The government has banned piracy. But during the 2000 era, piracy was at an all-time high. Like, I remember there was this scandal where a prosecutor has went into a student dorm and started confiscating computers from students because they had piracy. And the media found out that at that prosecutor's office, people had pirated versions of Windows. Like, there is a difference between banning something and enforcing it. And in the United States, they banned alcohol, but they couldn't enforce it. You had speakeasies, you had the mafia that was using a vibrant and rich black market. Meanwhile, in the Middle East, alcohol is generally banned and it's enforced. So, yeah, I do think, like, the religious aspect plays a major part in it. You wouldn't download a car, would you? Yeah, I think people would download a car if they could. The thing with piracy, and you know, especially now that I'm making a video game, which I do expect is probably going to end up being pirated to high heaven. The problem is like this. It's not theft, right? Because what theft means is I have a wallet, you steal it, I lose access to my wallet, right? So I think, like, theft would be, if I have, like, my video game, I haven't published it yet, and someone, like, steals the program from my computer, deletes it from mine, like with a virus or something, it deletes the game from my computer, now it's only on their computer and they publish it. Like, that is theft. What we're talking about piracy is a potential loss of sale. It's not even a loss of sale. Like, you don't know if that person would have bought it or not. Of course, there is, like, some money that you lose, but at this point, the way I view piracy as a game developer is an inevitable thing. It's like, nature, taking its course. It's like a plague of local, like you can't stop it. However, it is my job as a game developer to try and make my game available in multiple languages, because I would understand if Japanese people like start pirating it because, my game is in English and they don't understand it, so they have like a translating group and they pirate it like that. I do understand that. But it is also my job to tell people, look, if you want a sequel, you have to buy the game. Like, if I don't break even, because it's a business, right? If I don't break even, if I don't make money, or at least let me be on zero, right? So I don't lose that much money making the game, then you're not going to get a sequel. So it's very simple. You want more? Support it. You don't want more? That's fine. Pirate it. I don't blame you. Like, my point is, pirate the game. If you like it, buy it. I'm not going to spurg out because you're pirating the game. I can't stop you. It is what it is, and I do understand. Of course, there are assholes that come to me. It's like, I will pirate your game. It's like, okay, blocked. Like, but it is what it is. Long time V. Happy Thanksgiving. Welcome back, Alera Ceausescu. I missed you. Microsoft doesn't care if you pirate it. I think when they start going online only, they will definitely manage to stop a lot of piracy, because 9 out of 10, if I'm pirating something, the choice is between me never engaging with your product or pirating. The thing with pirating, right, like on one side, it is a loss of sale, but on the other side, it can be free advertisement. So basically, the way I see it, if your game is really good, and you have a person pirating it, and they like the game, they will tell others about your game. So it's not a complete loss of sale. Like the money that you get by people talking about it through word of mouth can actually be viewed as an investment into marketing. It's really a complex issue, right? I'm not encouraging pirating or anything like that, but I am saying that it's something that will happen. Like, no matter what, any product is going to get pirated. You are right. I hope to make 5,000 from my manga. Yeah, but I guarantee to you, American Outlier, the reality is people are going to pirate your manga. Like, there will be websites where the manga is going to be made available for people to read. Now people need to understand that if they like your manga and they want another issue, they have to support you somehow. Because if you're going to lose money, right? Like, if you're going to lose $5,000 just by making a manga, you're not going to make a sequel, right? You're at a loss. And it's not sustainable. 90% of my Steam library were pirated games I bought later. Yeah, like a lot of people do that as well. Just go the game dev tycoon route. Put a message up version of the game on the pirate sites. I messed up. No, because that's another... Like again, I do not have anything against someone that's going to pirate my game. As long as you don't tell me about it, because that's fucking rude. Alright? Like going to someone and like, I pirated your product. Say, fuck off. That's not, like, why are you telling me? Say, good for you. The thing is, I'm not even going to bother putting, like, any sort of anti-piracy or, like, trying to even make it difficult for people to access. People need to understand, if you like it when you bought it, if you want a sequel, you best make sure that I make even. If I don't make even, like here's the thing, right? As a consumer, because I am a consumer as well, like I play video games too. It feels like games are free to make. Like games just pop up, they sprout from the ether. But when you're invested in the production of a video game, they're incredibly expensive to make. Like all the art costs, and you need commercial licenses, and you need lawyers to have contracts with. Like there's so many costs involved that you don't even think about. Like, for example, when I started the business, I didn't even expect, I'll need to have a lawyer that I need to pay, so they draft contracts, and then I use the contracts in order to sign with the artist to get commercial release. Like, this is something that I didn't even think about. And they're expensive, the prices add up. So even if I were to want to make a sequel, if I do not break even, then, like, what? Am I supposed to, like, constantly pay from my pocket, right? It's not realistic. Yeah, I'm a lawyer, but, like, take into account the fact that I finished law school, I think it's more than 15 years now. And I studied law in Romanian. using this is something that most people who didn't study two languages don't know, but when you talk about technical terms like medical terms or legal terms, they are so fucking different between languages. So even if I speak English, if you're asking me to speak legalese, especially like when you guys use common law, like we use a different type of law, which is Roman Germanic in nature. So it's completely different. Like it's a completely different legal system between Romania and the United States. And even then, you got to talk about intellectual property law, which we barely touched at the university. So no, like you need to hire a lawyer in order to do a good job. But yeah, I did forget the fact that what I learned at law school. It's due to the fact that it's been 15 years and I haven't practiced it. Almost anything you learn, if you don't use it, you're going to forget. Common law is the best law. It's got advantages and disadvantages. I'm not going to lie. Like there are certain things that I like in common law that I wish we had, and there are certain things that we have that I think would be better if you guys had them. But yeah, it's just like a different system of doing law. For example, we do not have the concept of jury nullification. Well, like if you have a criminal that actually committed a crime, but the jury finds him innocent and he gets to walk away. Like, no, that doesn't exist. We don't even have jury. Like, that's another thing. We got judges. So the judge is the one that passes the sentence, and if the judge is also the person that finds it guilty or innocent. And as you go to higher courts, like if you file an appeal or based on the severity of the crime, you get more judges. So at the highest court, you have 9 judges, and they're kind of like the jury, if you will. And as you go down, you have 7, and then you have 5, 3, and so on and so forth. Yeah, I mean, we do not have jury. I don't know if it's like martial law, but take into account that most nations around the world do not have juries. But that doesn't mean like you have one judge. No, like you have 3 or 5. I guess some people find it better. I don't know. Like I remember, like when I heard an American that was a friend of mine, and he was summoned to be on a jury. I was like, what? Like jury duty? What the fuck is that? It's like, well, I go to preside over a case. Like what? Do you have to go? Yes. Like, but why not? Both is better than Sharia. Well, yeah, I mean, it's not. I mean, Sharia law is kind of something that I didn't really look into, right? I mean, they obviously have like their own lens through which they view it. I guess like they view it through a religious lens, but I don't know like the system. How is it done? Like I know it's an imam that presides over it, but I do not know if it's like 1 imam, 3 imams, 5. If you can have an appeal. Yeah, that's an interesting thing. Do you get to have an appeal in Sharia law? Go ahead, the government put me in jury duty, I dare you. Oh, there's a lot of ways that you can get out of jury duty, like legal ways, but from what I understand, most Americans don't want to. The thing is, like, if you run a business... Okay, so I'm a game developer, right? And let's say my developer is American and he gets summoned to be on jury duty. And maybe he's got like a difficult case that can last up to 6 months. Like, what do I do? Does it fuck my business or not? Like how do I proceed? It's very interesting, isn't it? Jury duty pays $40 a day. So wait, that's like, wow, that's shit. I guess it depends what type of person you are, right? Like if you're someone from an impoverished neighborhood with no job, $40 a day is good. But if you're someone that's a developer and you're making like $5,000 a month, $40 a day is not that good. Appeal comes in the afterlife. But like the thing with Sharia is like not everything is a death sentence, okay? That they do settle matters like inheritance, divorces. I imagine the easiest way out is to be like, I can't wait to throw someone in jail. Yeah, like pretty much, if you open your mouth, like that's one of the ways you can get out of the jury duty. Or even if you bring up jury nullification, right? Like if you bring up jury nullification, that is one way you can actually get thrown out of jury duty. But basically just open your mouth. Just flap your mouth about shit. That's... But you need to also be careful like what you talk about. Because if you talk about spicy stuff, you can get in trouble from other ways. But yeah, like if they view that you're a racist, if they view that you're a misogynist, if you know about jury nullification, all those types of things. If you have like suicidal thoughts and you express them, there's multiple ways that you can get out of a jury duty, which is legal, right? Like you go there, you just open your mouth, you talk a lot. Yeah, if you speak like Arch, that's another way. If you know the person, you can't serve. Yeah, but like that's a little bit difficult because you gotta actually know the person and you gotta prove that you know them, right? So if it's just like a random guy you've never seen. No, gamer words not necessarily. Hold on, let me ask ChatGPT. I'm curious like what ChatGPT is So, how can you get out of jury duty in a legal way? So there are several ways to be excused from jury duty, and did it cut? It doesn't want to tell me. Anyway, I guess I should close the video now because someone is calling, so I need to see. It's almost 1 hour. It's interesting that the AI won't tell you. But anyway, right, let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.